Give me a random MLB stat. Time starts now.
Oh man, that's tough. Joey Votto pop-ups, something about that. I don't know the exact number, but that's my.
I'm gonna need the exact number, Jeremy.
I think he had 7 pop-ups from 2011 to midway 2018 when I tweeted the stat or something like that. Oh man.
14.75 seconds, Jeremy.
I just checked it. It was 7 pop-ups from 2010 to midway 2018.
So you didn't even tell me the truth.
Right, I'm sorry.
You lied.
But I did feel the need to correct myself.
You lied to the beautiful audience of the Foolish Baseball channel.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
This isn't even the Foolish Baseball channel. This is going to be a different channel.
Foolish TV.
Yeah, Foolish TV, Foolish Baseball TV. All right, everyone. Welcome to the pilot episode of the greatest baseball talk show of all time, Foolish TV. My guest today, Jeremy Frank of the @MLB Random Stats Twitter account. He's also a student at Purdue, the co-author of 2 books, with a 3rd one coming. Jeremy, thank you for joining me. Let's get right into it. All right, so Jeremy, tell me about the account @MLB Random Stats. Why did you start it? How did you grow it? And how annoying are your mentions?
Yeah, very annoying to answer the first question. I've always been interested in baseball. My family's big baseball fans. Been playing Little League baseball my whole life. And I'm also my best subject growing up was math. So I figured that a good intersection between the two is baseball stats. I didn't realize how deep it actually went until I kind of got into it. And then you kind of realize like, oh, like there's more to the world than the back of a baseball card. I kind of got lucky at first because a few verified people like Mark Simon followed me. Dan Hirsch, I don't know if he's verified, but he was very big in baseball stats Twitter. He doesn't tweet as much anymore, but he was kind of active then. So it's kind of key at the beginning to get those, I guess, like important people following you if you want to grow a Twitter account. But ever since then, the Votto stat I mentioned earlier kind of grew my account. I probably got like 10,000 followers just from that tweet. But yeah, I'm at like 60 something thousand now, which is really kind of unbelievable. Did not expect that when I started it, but yeah, as you asked earlier, the mentions are kind of annoying. Mute my conversation is probably the best thing Twitter's ever invented. Everyone talks about whenever Twitter comes out with a new feature, it's like, oh, like why can't they just listen to us? But they already did listen to us. Mute my conversation is the best. They can come up, they could ruin their entire website as long as they keep that one feature there. I'm not going to complain. Yeah,
mute my conversation truly is like the talk to the hand of the digital sphere, you know, it just
and like, no one even knows about it. It would be cool if you could see that, like, oh, this tweeter muted this tweet. So like you're talking to a void. Mm-hmm. They can't even see it.
Now I would never mute my fans, never. My supporters. Look at me in the eye right now, people. I'm always listening. Okay. So you have like you just said, you have over 60,000 followers on Twitter. And we all know that when accounts reach 60,000 followers, they receive the coordinates for a secret island for the Twitter elite.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not there yet, but can you just tell me what sea is it in? What ocean is this island in? Can you tell me?
I'm actually sorry. You actually have to be verified as well as having 60,000 followers. If I knew, would I tell? I don't know if I would tell you, but I would at least tell you that I knew.
So why don't you tell us about the Hidden Ball Trick book series? And while you tell us about it, I'm going to read the entirety of volume 2. Okay.
Let me know.
Starting now.
So me and my buddy, Jim Passon Jr., also on Twitter at Passon Jim, not to be confused with Jeff Passon. We had an idea that since we both tweet a lot about random stats, to kind of compile them all into a book series. So we started writing, realized that it was going to be way too long for one book, so split it up into 3. The first book goes from 1876 to 1919, the dead ball era. The second book goes from 1920 to 1969, kind of the beginning of the live ball era. And the third book is in progress right now. And that'll cover 1970 to the coronavirus 2020 season. So be on the lookout for that in the next several months. But yeah, how did you like the book?
Fantastic. Let me tell you this. Did you know that Hidden Ball Trick Volume 2 has a perfect 5 out of 5 score on Goodreads.com?
Yeah, that's probably most of my family members on there. There probably were an occasional, like, actual legit buyer on there, but I think all of the reviews, I actually don't think so. I didn't actually know that, but that's good to know. I know Hidden Ball Trick 1 is not a perfect 5. Someone gave it a 4 and said it was a great book, like would recommend, and then gave us a 4. I don't know what I need to do to make it a 5-star, but I guess the transition from volume 1 to volume 2 was what we needed.
Yeah, you really improved the second time around. I consider Hidden Ball Trick Volume 2 to be like the Empire Strikes Back of MLB
Okay,
random stats books.
nice.
For comparison's sake, 1984 only has a 4.19.
Hmm.
So is there anything you'd like to say to George Orwell?
I would also like to say that Hidden Ball Trick is also not a banned book yet at several schools. So we got
Mm.
two things going for it if you make like a Venn diagram. But yeah, I mean, I guess just being an author that statistically rates better than George Orwell, it's pretty cool. So yeah, pretty honored.
Yeah, I actually prefer George Orwell's prequel to 1984, which is called 1884, and it's about old Hoss Radborn. Now, moving on, you launched a YouTube interview series of your own last off season.
I did
Who was
briefly.
the most handsome guest you interviewed?
Wow, that's tough. John Sciambi probably. I don't know. I know Bailey Freeman was on that,
Mhm.
but I don't know. It's tough. I guess we should have had like a in the comments like rate the attractiveness of the interviewee, and
That's
then we could
right.
just statistically measure it out. But I mean, leaving it up to me, I don't know.
By the way, it was a completely incorrect answer. The correct answer was Benetti. Benetti
Uh,
is by far the best looking person you interviewed. That
yeah,
guy's a stud.
I have to agree with you there.
Let me ask you this. Why do you like Purdue basketball more than any pro baseball team? Aren't you betraying your brand?
Well, it's actually kind of funny. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I probably watch, in terms of the sheer number of hours per day, I probably watch more college basketball than I do baseball when the seasons are going on. Like, I usually will watch like a couple of baseball games a day or like be switching back and forth. But college basketball, once the games start every day, I'm watching for the rest of the day. Pretty much is always on. So
Why did I ask him
when
a
I grew up a Purdue
basketball
fan, my
question?
dad went to Purdue. It's not like I just bandwagon
I
went
don't
to
even
Purdue.
care that much about
So I've been
basketball.
going to Purdue games my whole life. But they are the one thing with college basketball is like with Purdue, they're like a relatively stable enough program that like you don't have the ups and downs you would have a baseball team. Like the Cubs, like I'm a Cubs fan. The last 4 years are really fun, but like the next 8 years probably not going to be as fun. But you can really get attached to a college basketball team that is like at least a competent program and a pretty fun conference that like you can be attached every year and not have. I mean, Purdue breaks your heart every year, but it's not until the end of the year. It's not like coming into the season it's going to be like a good or bad year, which is why I don't know. I'm a huge college basketball fan as well as baseball.
Now, there may be some older people that watch this interview, so I just wanted you to bother them right now by asking, what year were you born in?
I was born in 2001. It's like yeah, it's like those TikToks where like, oh, like what year you were born? Like 2000 and they're like 2000 and like there's more. But yeah,
Ugh.
but then that's like then you get like people like Max Goldstein who's born in like 2004 or something like that, and like to me that's like 2004 doesn't exist. I'm sure like for someone born in the 90s or 80s or 70s or whatever, people
Yeah.
born in the 2000s are far from existing. But like for me, like my sister was born in 03. Everyone born after that is mind-boggling to me. So I can't imagine how someone born in the 90s feels about 2001 kid.
Yeah, I mean, if I were old, I would have felt that, but obviously I'm very young, so I was fine with it, and I handled
Yeah,
it.
you were. It was unfortunate that I wasn't born a few years earlier to watch you play for the Braves, but
Right, yes. Yeah,
um,
you could have had some nice memories.
yes.
Um, we're going to move on to Twitter questions. So about an hour ago, I posed the question, hey, what would you guys like me to ask at MLB Random Stats to my wonderful, my intelligent Twitter audience, some of the smartest baseball thinkers we know. They live in my reply section. All right, we have a question here from at Tanoob with Dream. Why is your name Jeremy?
I actually don't know. I know my parents. Like, I think the default answer for someone that don't know is like, oh, like my parents like the name. I will give a fun fact since I don't know. I will say that if I was a girl, my name would be Hannah. So that's a fun fact about me. But I don't know why my name is Jeremy. I guess it's because I'm a guy. It was between Jeremy and Hannah, and then I was just a guy. So
Between Jeremy and Hannah. I got the name Bailey because, well, my parents,
big Homer Bailey fans.
heavy drinkers,
Oh.
Irish Baileys.
There you go.
One night in the mid-'90s, a little too much. 9 months later, hey. That's not true at all. That's not where it's from. All right. I have a Twitter question here from at Josh Ezrol, who says, ask him about the project. What's the project?
So there's this thing. It's called the project that me and Josh have been working on. Devin may or may not be involved in it. That's as much as I can give about the project. It's more than I can give about the private island location, but
Okay.
I know it leaves a lot to be desired. But
Coming back to the private island again. I think you know. I think you made up.
That's where we're working on the project, actually.
You made up the whole, you have to be a verified requirement. I don't think that's true.
You believed it for a little bit.
I did for about 10 minutes. All right. We've got, it's more of a comment really, but this is from @MLB Random Stats, who says, give him a couple layups. Okay, here's a layup. It's from Perry Season, #Bauer to Anaheim @22_Fletch. I wonder who he roots for. Where do we go when we die?
Oh, wow. That really is a layup.
That's an easy one.
Yeah. I think we should be asking Old Hoss Radburn. I think his Twitter account is probably the one Twitter account that is actively maintained by someone who could answer that question for us.
Yeah. He would probably say
I hope
hell.
that I can maintain my account after I die, because there's nothing I love more than just putting out a great tweet. And I think that even after I die, wherever we go, I really hope I can still experience the adrenaline rush of just sending out a tweet and hoping there's no typos in it. But I think we should be asking Old Hoss.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jesus has one of the most popular religions in the world, and he started with 12 followers. So you should remember that he also was a small account.
His 13th follower was verified, though, and that's how it grew. So
good point. Good point. Yeah. And he didn't even tweet about Joey Votto once.
Never.
Jeremy, I'm now screen sharing to you, and I'm showing you a picture of a baseball player. Who is that?
That looks a little bit like Jeff Mathis, catcher. I know he's not in catching position right now. I think you're trying to throw me off a little bit.
Yeah, it's very good. I am.
Yeah, that's my
You
guess.
think it's Jeff Mathis?
I do, yeah.
That is actually completely correct. Well done. Well done, Jeremy. You're 1 for 1. However, I do have one more I'd like to show you. Okay, so I've shown you a famous baseball player. Okay, this is a Purdue alumni. Okay, so we're really going to test where your loyalties lie. Tell me, who is this Purdue alumni?
That's David Fletcher.
I'm sorry. David Fletcher did not go to Purdue. Jeremy, that is Brian Bosma of the formerly of the Indiana State House of Representatives. It's curious to me that you don't know anything about Purdue, yet you know so much about baseball.
I forgot. David Fletcher went to Temecula State University.
That's right, and you can still meet him there to this day. All right, well done.
I was nervous. I thought it was going to be someone that I would have actually heard of, but I'm glad that it wasn't actually someone.
Yeah, it would have been bad if I put up like Neil Armstrong or something on there and you didn't know.
Yeah. As long as he's wearing his astronaut suit, I probably could be able to guess it. But
who would win in a boxing match? Your co-author Jim Passon or ESPN's Jeff Passan?
Okay, well, I will say that no matter who wins the fight, everyone will be saying "owned" very loudly at the top of their lungs. No matter
be saying
if Jeff
"wef."
wins, yes. They'll be saying "wef." They'll be saying "owned." They'll be in Jim's mention saying "L," owned by Passan for the rest of his life, whether or not he wins or loses. It doesn't matter. It could be a good fight from Jeff, a bad fight from Jeff. All we'll hear about after the fight is how great of a victory it was for Jeff. But I'll put my money on. I mean, I feel like this. I'm kind of nervous that this actually is gonna end up happening for some reason, because whenever Jeff makes a bet with someone, it always ends up actually turning out. But I'm gonna go. I trust my co-author Jim to win that fight. I've never seen Jeff in person before, but
yeah. I imagine Jeff would get distracted because I feel like there'd be like Lindor trade buzz going around and he'd
Just
have
gotta
one
text
hand
him
on his smartphone.
Just text him a lead or something like that, and hope that he gets distracted.
Yeah, be like, Arenado might be leaving town, Jeff. All right. We're going to wrap up the show right here. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me. Just one last thing. Give me a random MLB stat that's not about Votto or Bonds.
Man. I really got to think about this one.
Clock is ticking.
Yeah. Should I just ice out the clock? Is there a shot clock here? I'm just going to stay here. Mute this conversation.
Oh, I've got all day.
Oh, man. That's tough. Derek Jeter had negative 162 defensive run saved in his career, I believe is the number.
That is correct. 23.9 seconds. There you go. Yeah. Jeter slander. Jeremy Frank, thank you so much for joining me.